Hello, welcome back to Book Nerd TV. Today is just a very brief update of my reading thus far. In the month of July, I have been making headway in a lot of the books that I've been reading over the course of many months. Things seem to be picking up, so hopefully all of that will continue for the rest of the month and for the rest of the year, and I can really get some reading done. I set a goal of reading 50 books this year. 50 books, that's not very many. But I also know that I'm a mood reader, and after 2020, I didn't want to set a goal that was just too far out of reach. So I thought 50 was reasonable. So that may or may not happen for 2021, but who knows? We'll see. I am happy to report that I finally finished reading, and this was actually reading, Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde. That was quite a long haul read for me. It is a slim volume, but the concepts that she was talking about and the issues that she was discussing even in the early 80s, I found to be just as relevant today. And it's sad, scary, frustrating to think that we've made very little progress in a lot of areas. This is not time for a soapbox. This is just an update, so let me just move on. Yes, I finished Sister Outsider. So glad to have finished that book. Very informative. And I'm going to actually have a discussion about Sister Outsider on the channel coming up in August with any luck. And within last week, I started and finished War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. This is something that I listened to. It was an audiobook, and my interest in War of the Worlds was sparked by listening to someone on a podcast, and they really just mentioned H.G. Wells and the War of the Worlds in passing, moving on to another topic, but I cannot remember reading War of the Worlds in high school. So I thought, let me go ahead and read one of the sort of classics, especially of the science fiction genre. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I listened to it rather than read. It was definitely interesting. And it was fascinating in a way that Wells structured the book from the beginning of the encounter and sort of how the layers of disbelief and reality actually starts to sink in and settle in on the people, and of course the main narrator, who I don't think we ever get his name. So I really liked that aspect for sure of the book. The characters were, I guess, of necessity, one or two dimensional. This was really plot driven more so, and the plot did move along. I never found myself bored by the story because I moved through it fairly swiftly. I can just imagine really when this book initially came out, I believe it was serialized. I can just imagine the sort of page-turning, mind-blowing event that this was for the late 1800s, early 1900s. This book just must have been so different and strange and maybe even frightening, because this book was published before even World War I occurred. So I found it very interesting, especially placing it in the context of the times, coming from the 1800s, moving into the 1900s. So there was a whole century turn, right? And things had already changed so much in the 1800s, and now they're moving into this new century. And what will this new century bring? A lot. So I enjoyed it for that. And if you've never read War of the Worlds, I think it's definitely worth a listen. And again, you can move through the audiobook, if not in one day, because I think it was maybe 6 or 7 hours. You can definitely move through it in 2 to 3 days, without having to really force yourself. I think you might really enjoy it. I feel like I enjoyed it. It wasn't the best writing or the best story ever told, but it was certainly enjoyable. I am continuing to make slow progress, but progress nonetheless, with The Disordered Cosmos by Chanda Prescod-Weinstein. I am dipping my toe back into the Lesson Tamara Payne book. And of course, I've decided to go ahead and finish Get a Life Chloe Brown so that I can move on to Take a Hint Danny Brown. I've let that sort of play itself out long enough. It's time for me to move on to the next book, so I shall endeavor to do that. So seriously, this was just a very brief update for me on my reading progress and the fact that there has been progress. I am so grateful to everyone who is a subscriber. Thank you so much, Book Nerd veterans. I really appreciate your presence and your continued interaction with the channel and with me. If you're brand new to the channel, welcome. Remember, don't just check out this video, check out some of the other videos. And if you like what you see here, go ahead and subscribe and you will become a Book Nerd veteran. Remember to give the video a like if you enjoyed this video. And if you feel so inspired, leave me a comment below. That's all for today, Book Nerds. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, stay safe, be good, do good, and I will see you in the next video.